What I didn't realize was that Nashville has never really been about live performance. It was about song publishing, songwriting.
And when you tell Dwight not to use the term hillbilly, well, he'll give you an earful.
I, in high school, had a rockabilly band. In my junior year of high school, I hosted a variety show with another guy from the theater department.
I have a suspicion that the folks that said you got to lose it had no right by birth to say you got to lose it, because they were usually people who weren't hillbillies.
The music that was on commercial country radio, it never appealed to me. It didn't resonate with me. I was doing...
Country music legend Dwight Yoakam is making headlines in 2025. At 69 years old, the Grammy-winning artist who helped revive the Bakersfield sound in the 1980s is experiencing what might be his most creative and personally fulfilling chapter yet. From collaborating with one of the biggest pop stars in the world to writing songs with his 4-year-old son. Before we get into what's making headlines today, let's establish who Dwight Yoakam really is and why his current moment matters so much.
Allowed me an access point to take the kind of neo honky-tonk that I was, because I never did the urban cowboy stuff. I got fired a lot.
October 23rd, 1956, marked his birth in Pikeville, Kentucky, and by the late 1970s he'd relocated to Los Angeles, where he became a defining figure in the city's cowpunk scene. Nashville was churning out polished country pop in the 80s, but Yoakam was doing something completely different on the West Coast. His inspiration came from the Bakersfield sound of legends like Buck Owens and Merle Haggard, and he blended that classic honky-tonk style with rock influences that created something fresh. The breakthrough arrived in 1986 with the double platinum album Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., etc., and its hit single Honky Tonk Man, which didn't just launch his career, but helped spark an entire California country rock revival that changed the genre. The numbers from his 4-decade career tell a remarkable story. 25 million albums sold with 12 gold and 9 platinum certifications backing up that figure, and he's released approximately 29 albums total, including about 16 studio LPs, along with live albums, covers, and compilations. 21 Grammy nominations came his way, and he took home 2 of those prestigious awards, plus an ACM award and numerous other honors that filled up his mantle. What makes Yoakam different from many of his contemporaries comes down to his encyclopedic knowledge of music history. Colleagues and collaborators constantly mention how he can reference obscure songs from the 1960s, drop names of forgotten rock bass lines, and connect musical dots that most people don't even know exist. The Byrds, Buck Owens, Roy Orbison, and the Kinks all show up when he talks about his influences. Dave Alvin, co-founder of the Blasters, remembers the first time he caught Yoakam performing back in 1980 at Los Angeles Palomino Club. Only about 35 people filled the audience that night, but Alvin took one look at the young singer, and the thought hit him immediately. Oh, there's a star. Within a few years, Alvin had Yoakam opening for the Blasters on tour, and that early instinct proved right. Yoakam's impact extended beyond music into an extensive acting resume with over 40 films, including memorable roles in Sling Blade, Panic Room, Logan Lucky, and Cry Macho, plus a co-starring role on the series Goliath that showed his range. 2019 brought his induction into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, cementing his status as not just a performer but a genuine craftsman of country music who'd earned respect from every corner of the industry. Now here's where the story gets really interesting and why Dwight Yoakam's name has been all over music headlines in late 2024 and into 2025. November 15th, 2024 marked the release of Brighter Days, his first album of mostly new songs in 9 years. After nearly a decade away from releasing original material, this legendary artist came back with what many critics are calling some of his most joyful and optimistic work ever, and the timing couldn't have felt more deliberate. 3 years went into creating the album, with Yoakam writing and recording throughout that period, whilst producing the entire project without outside interference. 14 tracks make up Brighter Days, including 12 original songs that Yoakam mostly co-wrote with top Nashville songwriters like Jeffrey Steele, Bob DiPiero, and Shane Minor, plus 3 covers that he completely reimagined in his signature style. The Carter Family's Keep on the Sunny Side, the Band Cake's Bound Away, and the Byrds' Time Between, which Chris Hillman wrote, all got the Yoakam treatment and came out sounding fresh. But here's the thing that makes this album truly headline-worthy, and it's not just the music itself, but the story behind it. Yoakam says the project was directly inspired by his new family life, and during the restrictions of the global health situation, while many artists struggled creatively, Yoakam discovered something unexpected that changed everything: profound happiness at home with his wife and young children. The title track, Brighter Days, has an absolutely remarkable origin story that nobody could have predicted. Yoakam co-wrote it with his 4-year-old son Dalton, who actually appears on the recording singing alongside his father. Picture this scene: Yoakam sitting at the piano at home and his toddler son starts singing along to the melody he's playing. At one point, Yoakam looked at Dalton and said, "You know what? The future is you." And Dalton sang the melody right back to him in that moment. That spontaneous exchange of father-son connection became the foundation for the album's title track, and you can hear it on the record. Yoakam describes the entire album as joyful and optimistic, saying it was born of my fortune and the love in my life during those challenging years when the world was locked down and everything felt uncertain. After decades of singing about traditional country themes like hardship, heartbreak, and honky-tonks, here came Dwight Yoakam, embracing brightness and gratitude in a way he never had before. The headlines get even bigger when you look at the lead single from Brighter Days and who Yoakam chose to feature on it. September 6, 2024 brought the release of I Don't Know How to Say Goodbye, Bang Bang Boom Boom, featuring pop superstar Post Malone. Post Malone, the tattooed hip-hop and pop artist known for hits like Circles and Rockstar, singing a honky-tonk ballad about the pain of farewell with a 68-year-old country legend, seemed like the most unlikely duet in recent country music history. And they didn't just record a song together and call it a day. Late August saw Yoakam and Malone filming an over-the-top music video riding horses down Los Angeles' famous Sunset Strip, both wearing glittering rhinestone nudie suits in classic country rock style that made the whole thing feel like a fever dream. Actresses Malin Ackerman and Nina Dobrev showed up in cameos, making it a true Hollywood production that got people talking. Now, you're probably wondering how this collaboration even happened in the first place. The story actually goes back to 2018 when Post Malone appeared on Yoakam's SiriusXM radio channel, and that meeting changed everything. 2018 marked the launch of Yoakam's own satellite radio channel called Dwight Yoakam and the Bakersfield Beat, devoted entirely to the Bakersfield and country rock tradition that he'd spent his career championing. Weekly programs like Greater Bakersfield and Cowpunks to Now Punks give him space to interview music peers and highlight classic songs that deserve attention. Country rock pioneers like Chris Hillman of the Byrds, folk legends, and artists John Doe and Exene Cervenka have all appeared as guests on his shows. When Post Malone showed up on one of these radio programs back in 2018, Yoakam found himself genuinely impressed by the young artist's sincerity when singing Bob Dylan songs, and they stayed in touch after that. Friendship grew over the years, and in April 2024, it went public when they performed together at California's Stagecoach Festival in Indio, singing Yoakam's 1987 hit Little Ways for a crowd that went wild. July 2024 brought another performance at the Greek Theater where they teamed up again, performing that same song for an enthusiastic audience that proved the chemistry was real. By the time Brighter Days was being finalized, including Post Malone on the lead single seemed natural and right. The collaboration introduced Yoakam to an entirely new generation of listeners, while showing Post Malone's genuine love for traditional country music ran deeper than anyone expected. Behind all these professional achievements sits a personal story that many fans didn't know about until recently, and it explains so much about the music. May 2020, right at the beginning of the global health situation, marked when Dwight Yoakam married photographer Emily Joyce in a private ceremony. 2 young sons came from that union, with Dalton being the eldest after his birth in late 1920, and suddenly everything in Yoakam's life looked different. Yoakam has always kept his private life relatively low-key and away from the tabloids, but he's been open about how his family has completely transformed his creative perspective in ways he never anticipated. Decades as a bachelor focused entirely on music and acting gave way to discovering happy family life in his 60s, which provided him with an entirely new source of inspiration that poured into his songwriting. The singer describes this period as discovering the love in my life, which directly influenced the optimistic tone of Brighter Days and made songs possible that wouldn't have existed before. Songs that might have been about heartbreak in his younger years now reflect gratitude, hope, and looking toward the future, literally represented by his young sons who changed his entire worldview. Collaborator Jeffrey Steele talked about working with Yoakam on the new album and mentioned that the artist often works late into the night, staying up until you completely tap out, because he believes something genius always falls out of that creative exhaustion when your defenses are down. The restrictions forced adaptation, so Yoakam and his co-writers worked via video calls, exchanging demos from home studios, and blending their influences remotely in a way they'd never tried before. Steele also describes how Yoakam's vast musical knowledge comes into play during these sessions in unexpected ways. A bass line from an obscure 1960s rock song might suddenly come up in conversation, leaving his collaborators both amused and impressed by the depth of references this man carries in his head at all times. What stands out about Yoakam's recent activities is his dedication to preserving and promoting country music history rather than just focusing on his own career. His SiriusXM channel isn't some vanity project where he plays his own hits, but a genuine effort to educate audiences about the Bakersfield sound and the artists who created it decades ago. A beautiful photograph circulates online showing Yoakam backstage, tipping his cowboy hat in front of guitar cases labeled Buck Owens, a tribute to the Bakersfield legend who inspired him throughout his career. These kinds of respectful nods to country music history show up constantly in his work and public appearances. His radio channel has featured guests like Tejano legend Flaco Jimenez, who played accordion on Yoakam's hit Streets of Bakersfield and became a friend over the years. Mid-2025 brought him his passing, and Yoakam publicly honored him by posting a live clip of them performing together, along with words that came straight from the heart. It was an honor to know you and a profound privilege to have been able to work with you. Rest in sweet and lasting peace. These gestures show that Yoakam isn't just performing country music for a paycheck. He's actively working to ensure the tradition continues and that the pioneers who came before him are remembered and celebrated by younger generations who might never have heard their names otherwise. So what's next for Dwight Yoakam as we head deeper into 2025 and look toward 2026? And why do the headlines keep coming? Through 2024 and into 2025, Yoakam has been on an extensive multi-city United States tour that's been taking him across the country. Summer 2024 shows were initially co-headlined with the Mavericks, the band led by Raul Malo, and the pairing worked beautifully. Fall 2024 brought complications when the Mavericks had to cancel some dates because Malo needed to undergo medical treatments. So Yoakam played those shows with backup acts instead and made sure fans didn't miss out on the live experience they'd paid for. But here's the big touring news that broke in November 2025 and got everyone's attention. Yoakam announced a major co-headlining tour with rock legends ZZ Top called the Dos Amigos Tour, which will run from March through May 2026, crossing the Midwest, South, and East. Two giants of American music representing different but complementary traditions will be sharing stages across the country, blending Yoakam's country hits with ZZ Top's blues rock classics in what promises to be one of the most interesting pairings of the year. This tour announcement got significant attention because it represents exactly what Yoakam has always been about since day one, breaking down the artificial walls between musical genres and showing how country, rock, and blues are all part of the same American musical tradition has been his mission from the beginning. Late 2025 finds Yoakam actively promoting brighter days while maintaining his status as a fixture on both traditional country radio and his own SiriusXM channel, where he continues educating audiences. He's also mentoring younger artists through collaboration, as evidenced by his work with Post Malone and his openness to working with contemporary songwriters who bring fresh perspectives to the table. So why is Dwight Yoakam breaking headlines in 2025? And what makes this moment different from any other point in his career? Scandal and controversy have nothing to do with it, and he's notable for staying completely focused on music rather than gossip throughout his entire career spanning 4 decades. Dwight Yoakam is making news because at 69 years old, he's experiencing a genuine creative renaissance that feels earned and authentic. His most optimistic album in decades came from the family life he found later in life. Collaboration with one of the biggest stars in pop music introduced his Bakersfield sound to an entirely new generation that might never have discovered him otherwise. A massive tour with rock legends is about to begin, and through it all, he's maintained his role as a guardian of country music tradition while using his radio platform to educate audiences about the genre's history and push it forward with new sounds. The latest about Dwight Yoakam isn't breaking headlines because something went wrong. Headlines are breaking because something went remarkably right during a time when good news feels hard to come by. After 4 decades in the music business, he's found a way to stay relevant without compromising his artistic integrity, to honor the past while embracing the future, and to create his most joyful work during a period when the world desperately needed brightness and hope. From those early days at the Palomino Club with 35 people in the audience to sold-out tours and collaborations with pop superstars, from singing about heartbreak to writing songs with his 4-year-old son, Dwight Yoakam's story proves that true artists never stop evolving, no matter how much time passes. His current moment in the spotlight isn't a comeback, but a continuation of a career built on authenticity, musical knowledge, and genuine love for the craft that can't be faked. These really are brighter days, just like the album title says. And based on everything he has planned for the coming year, those headlines about Dwight Yoakam aren't going to stop anytime soon. If you enjoyed learning about Dwight Yoakam's journey and his latest career highlights, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories about country music legends and the artists keeping the tradition alive. What do you think about Dwight Yoakam's collaboration with Post Malone? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.